Good evening, everybody. I'm Cenk Uygur, and we've got a huge show for you tonight. Tonight, as we're going to talk about how the battle in Wisconsin might actually be the right wing's Waterloo. Yeah, you heard me right. I said it. I think this is where they might have actually hit a turning point and suffered a serious defeat. Now, let me tell you why. First, Governor Scott Walker has now been exposed as a radical. He has shown repeatedly that he's driven by a hard right-wing ideology. Yesterday, he was joking about taking a baseball bat to Democrats with a guy that he thought was his billionaire donor friend. And then this morning, Governor Walker dispatched state troopers to try to round up the 14 Democratic state senators who fled the state to block the spending bill. He's trying to send them in at night to sneak around their house and see if they can capture them. Now, look, the second thing we've learned about Governor Walker is that he doesn't really care about jobs much, certainly not middle-class jobs.
I got layoff notices ready. We put out the at-risk notices. We'll announce Thursday. They'll go out early next week, and we'll probably get 5,000 to 6,000 state workers will get at-risk notices for layoffs. We might ratchet that up a little bit, too.
Look at this guy. Does it look like he's trying to help the average Wisconsin voter? He seems like he's relishing the idea of firing people. You think he cares about you? He doesn't care about you. It's obvious. And look, it's not just about you and I recognizing that. It's about the voters of Wisconsin that just voted for him going, hey, wait a minute. This guy told me he was going to create jobs, and here he is telling his billionaire donor friend, oh, don't worry, I got 5,000 to 6,000 layoff notices coming. Oh, we're going to hit him hard. That's not what they elected you for. And the third thing that Walker's taught us is that his real boss and his real aim is to help the Koch brothers. Those are his bosses. That prank call yesterday made it crystal clear who he actually reports to. Now, let me give you a little bit of better context as to why Walker cares so much about the Koch brothers. Are you going to be ready for this? I hope you're sitting down. It turns out it's all about the money. And it's not just the $43,000 that the Koch Industries gave to Walker's campaign directly. It's also the $3.4 million the Republican Governors Association chipped in for ads attacking his opponent. Now, where did they get that money? Well, at least $1 million of it came from the Koch brothers. Look, you can tell from the tapes that Walker's conversation with the fake David Koch that he thinks that he's, pretty much untouchable. He's like, look, I got these guys running scared. I'm on top of this. I'm never going to bend. I'm going to grab a bat. He thinks he can't lose. But the reality is that the tide is turning. Similar protests in Ohio and Indiana have legislators backpedaling. Those are Republicans backpedaling. Their anti-collective bargaining bills have either been weakened or killed altogether already. And Ohio's Governor John Kasich and Indiana's Governor Mitch Daniels almost sound like they're praising the Wisconsin and Indiana Democrats who left their states to prevent the votes.
I could have seen a day in Washington when I was down there as a congressman where the Democrats were using dictatorial rule where we would just get up and walk out of the chamber. Okay? I mean, let's be fair. If you were down there, you might walk out of the chamber, okay?
The activities of today are perfectly legitimate, part of the process. Even the smallest minority, and that's what we've heard from the last couple days, has every right to express the strength of its views, and I salute those who did.
They're saluting the Democratic protesters. I mean, that is a full backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. That's better than spits. That's the old swimmer, right? Okay. So now, if you think that's bad, even Chris Christie of New Jersey is running away from this issue. He said, quote, that he was ready to embrace the collective bargaining situation. They got Christie embracing the situation. No, not that one. The collective bargaining situation. Now, not only are the other governors running away from him, but he's actually become a bit of a punchline for other top Republicans. Here's Mike Huckabee today at the National Press Club.
I want to thank you for coming today. I was almost late. I was detained for a few minutes, had a phone call from David Koch, and that lasted nearly 20 minutes. But I was finally able to break loose and get here today to be with you.
Look, he's joking around about Walker, but the reality is Huckabee said he might not even run for president because he hates raising the money. Guys like Walker apparently don't hate it. They relish talking to the billionaires, and they relish firing you if they have to, if that's the orders that they got. Now, as if that weren't enough, some of the Governor Walker's in-state buddies, they might even be beginning to lose heart here. The Wisconsin Senate Majority Leader's wife is one of the school staff. You know what happened to her? who got a layoff notice today. So the majority leader was actually the one who officially sent the cops to try and track down the Democrats. Why? Is he in a little bit of a panic now that it's his family that might get affected, his wife who might get fired? Now all of a sudden it's not theoretical anymore. He's like, oh, I got to find those Democrats. What happened? Oh my God, my family might be affected. Yeah, all of our families are affected if you go after these guys. The bottom line here is this. As Walker remains intransigent, whether he wins in the short run on this particular bill, it appears he might have done great damage to himself and even worse damage to the right-wing idea of going after the middle class, saying it's their fault, they caused the deficit, I'm going to take it out of their hide. That idea might be losing. So win or lose on this bill, this might just be the right-wing's Waterloo, since the people of Wisconsin and the American people overall are now realizing how radical they are, where they get their money, and just how little they care about the average voter.